And we're back. Welcome back to the Auto Authorities. My name is Jay, coming to you live. Boy, oh boy, do we have a shocking episode for you today. You will not believe what's going on. I'm having trouble believing what's going on. And you're going to learn about what is going on. How about that? Are you guys ready to do this? Let's go.
Have you ever felt like you were taken for a ride while buying, selling, or repairing your car? Well, not anymore. I'm Jay, and this is the podcast to tell you what to watch out for, whether you are buying, selling, or repairing your car. With over 26 years of automotive experience, we are the Auto Authorities. This podcast is sponsored by iAutoAgent.com. We're real estate agents for cars.
Back to the Auto Authorities Podcast. My name is Jay, coming to you live. It is just kind of a crazy world right now in the auto industry and very, very unpredictable. But today, I am going to make some predictions of what's going to happen. So if you want to know, stick around and listen. But before we get going, I want to thank our podcast sponsor, iAutoAgent.com. That's I like integrity, autoagent.com. They are real estate agents for people's cars. They will take care of selling your car for you at no cost to you. They will make sure that they market, they list, and they show your car and handle the money transaction so you never ever have to meet a strange person again selling your car. How about that? And we also have the Vehicle Finder program. The Vehicle Finder program is finding your dream car anywhere in the country. And we will deal with all the communications with the dealerships. We will take care of anywhere from helping you set up financing to scheduling the showings to everything where you're just going in and picking up your wonderful vehicle. How about that? And if you're just joining us, you can watch us live at 12 p.m. Central Time on the Auto Authorities Podcast Facebook group page. That's the Auto Authorities Facebook group page. And then if you still want to watch us, but you can't watch us live, go to the Auto Authorities YouTube page and click the subscribe button and the notifications button, and you will be notified for all our wonderful podcasts. And finally, if you just want to listen to us driving into work, go to the autoauthorities.com. That's the autoauthorities.com. And you can literally listen to all of our episodes on iTunes, Pandora, Google Podcasts, you name it, you can do it. And we've been doing this for 2 years. This is raw and uncut, folks. If you're just joining us, we have so many loyal listeners throughout the world, not just the country, but the world. And I do this because I care about you and I want to really tell you the real truth, not all the crap that you just read on the internet. And today we're going to be talking about market updates. We're going to be talking about like what is going on. We're going to give you an update on the chip shortage and the deal and the manufacturers that are suffering, and the manufacturers have it put together. And then there's a really crazy thing that Tesla has done that we're going to talk about. And then finally, I'm going to make my predictions. So let's get into the numbers. So the Manheim Used Vehicle Index rose to 234.5, which was down 7% from last February. So these are all February's numbers. What does that mean? Well, it means that the market the prices are dropping from last year, which is good. But I will tell you this, the prices are spiking right now. Yes, that's right. So if you're looking to sell a car, this would be a very small window that you could take advantage of getting really top dollar for your car. Now, let's talk about the next piece of data. It's called the consumer sentiment. And what that is the confidence that our economy has right now, like in our economy. So, like, what do the people think about our economy? Well, it increased to 2.1% up to 67. What does that mean? It means that people are a little bit confident, but they're sure not feeling as good as they usually do. The Consumer Confidence Index declined 2.9% in February. What that means is that people are a little bit of gun shy right now of purchasing something. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. The interest rates are going up, and prices on new cars are going through the roof. It's very, very crazy right now. And the prices of used cars went up 4.3% in February from January of 2023. So basically, from January to February, the prices have gone up 4.3%. There's still prices are still 7% lower year over year. So what does that mean? The prices have spiked, but they're still lower than they were last year. So we still are on a downturn right now. So what we've been telling our clients, and we've been telling the people we know, listen, if you want to sell a car, call iautoagent.com. They'll get you top dollar, because I'm telling you, it's a short window right now. And as we make our predictions today, you will find out why that is. Let's talk about days on the market. Days on the market is how many days on the average are cars staying on the market. And it's at 41 days, which was down 7 days from January. That means the cars are selling faster now, too. The demand is there. This is tax time. If you've been watching my podcast or listening to my podcast, or however you listen to it, you will know that this is tax time. This is when things start to get a little bit crazy, where people have tax money and they go and use their money to go buy cars. Now, the next piece I want to talk about is the wholesale supply. And what this is how many days are cars in the wholesale side. So like at the auctions, it's down to 24 days, which means that the cars are not they're not selling tremendously fast, but they are selling faster than they were last month, if that makes sense to you. Then let's talk about the sales conversion rate. That means that the percentage of cars that are selling versus last month is at 64.3. Last month was 57%. That means that they're selling faster. And I know some of these numbers may not mean a whole lot, but they actually have a definition. So what we've talked about now is the market is doing pretty well right now for cars. If you want to go buy a car, that's great. You can still get a decent deal, and they're going for less money than they were last year. But if you're looking to sell a car, now's the prime time. It really is. Let's get into the chip shortage update, because we haven't talked about this for a little while. And there are some manufacturers that are doing really, really, really well. And there's some manufacturers that are really, really not doing well. And what the chip shortage is these chips are used for a lot of safety items, some of the luxury items that go into these cars. And because of the chip shortage, we haven't had these chips available to put in the cars. Therefore, it has slowed down production. Well, there are some companies that are doing pretty well. And according to my research, BMW is doing really well. Mercedes is doing well. Volvo is doing really well. And they're really right on track. Now, that doesn't mean that they haven't pulled certain options from cars. So there's a lot of cars right now that you can get, that you may not get some of the options that you want because they can't create the cars and the options with the chips that they have available. Now let's talk about the the cars that are really, really suffering. Honda is suffering, General Motors is suffering, Ford is suffering, and Toyota is suffering. In fact, you might even go to these manufacturers and their dealerships, and you may not even see any cars on their lot. They're really suffering. But in reality, the manufacturers really are not tremendously worried because what they've learned is through this chip shortages, they don't have to put hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of cars on the lot. They only need to put a certain few on the lot, and they will sell more cars. They will have much higher profit margins, and they will have a much more efficient process. And overall, they're just going to make more money. So that's what the manufacturers are looking at. The dealerships are liking it too because they're making a lot more profit on these new cars. In fact, new cars, they haven't made a lot of profit, period, for many, many years because they overproduce them and then they wind up putting incentives. But as we get going further into this, I would love to hear any comments from you about your experience buying a new car. Are you able to buy the new car? What was the experience going in? Because some of the manufacturers also, they're getting the cars in and they're hiding the cars in the back. So it looks like they have less cars. So it's all about supply and demand, right? So if there is a lower supply, right, then what's going to happen? The prices go up, don't they? And they know this. So some of the dealers are doing this and they're not showing all the cars that they have available, which I don't agree with. But not all dealers are doing it. Just some of the deceptive dealers, not the good dealers. So, if you wanted to go buy a Toyota right now, you're not going to be able to. I mean, even basic cars such as Camrys and Corollas are really, really like you have to order these cars, and it might be a little bit before you get them. And we're even going to talk about, as we get into more predictions today, we're going to talk about leasing and because there's still a misnomer about leasing, and I'm going to cover it. I'm going to cover it today. But what we're talking about today is we're talking about the market update. It's shocking. It really is. Because as these markets, I'm sorry, as the interest rates are going up, the market is getting higher and higher, and people are still buying cars. And what they're trying to do is slow down the economy a little bit to slow down inflation because the Fed's gonna keep raising rates. So when you think about it, is whether you're looking to sell a car, it's a great time to sell, and it's also a great time to buy because you're going to be able to get into these cars at a lower monthly payment than you will here in just a little bit. So just keep that in mind. And today we're going to talk about predictions. We're going to talk about what's going to happen in 2023. These are Jay's predictions, of course. My opinions. We're also going to talk about some of the crazy stuff that's going on as far as what Tesla's doing, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. But if you're just tuning in, you can literally watch us live at 12 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday on the Facebook group page. You just join the group page. You can watch us on the YouTube page, the Auto Authorities. Click the subscribe button and the notification button. And then third, go to the autoauthorities.com. You can get we're on 19 different channels worldwide. You can go to iTunes, you can go to Pandora, you can go to Google Podcast. You can go to all these places and listen to us. This is raw and uncut information, folks. This is to help you and make you let you understand what's going on. So share this with somebody that you know. So I want to go into the next piece of the presentation. Let's go talk about Tesla, right? We all know about Tesla. They have completely disrupted the automotive industry. Tesla's doing something completely unheard of. They are lowering their prices. Yes, you heard it. They're lowering their prices, and they're lowering them a ton. When I was reading about this, it's absolutely genius for Elon Musk to do this. Why is this genius? It's because new car prices are going through the roof right now. I mean, just an average car is like $47,000 now. And do you know what $47,000 equivalents into a monthly payment? It's over $1,000 a month for a 5-year loan. That's crazy. There's some people watching this that probably don't have much more than $1,000 a month for their house payment. So let's talk about what Tesla's doing. This is interesting. They're lowering the price of their cars, and I'm going to go through each of the models and how much they're lowering it. I'm going to start with the lowest one first. That's the Model S. That's their four-door midsize car. They're lowering their prices 5%. So if you have a $100,000 car, what's $100,000? What's 5% of $100,000? It's $5,000. It's a lot. That's a lot. Now, let's go to the next one up, the Model 3. And this is the one that most people are buying because it's the most affordable. They're lowering it 6.4%. That's significant. Let's go to the next one, Model X. So that's an SUV. That's the one where the doors go up. They're lowering it 9%. Model S Plaid. So I don't know if you're familiar with that, but what it is, it's a Model S and it is an absolute rocket ship. That's the best way to put it. It's just super fast. They're lowering it 15%. And then the Model Y, their normal SUV, 20% discount. Now, what does this mean if you own a Tesla? What it means is your Tesla's worth a lot less now. That's exactly what it means. And frankly, what I would do is, well, I don't know. If you're looking to sell it, you better sell it soon before everybody catches on to this because can you imagine like if you have a Tesla, you might lose 20% overnight on your used one if it's a Model Y. So that's very interesting that they're doing that, but they're also still having issues getting products. And what's happened is now, because they lowered their prices, what do you think has happened now? It has created a massive, massive amount of demand. He's so smart for doing this because he's going to have a lot of competition once General Motors really starts getting their vehicles and Ford starts getting their vehicles and Volkswagen and Audi and all of them. These electric vehicles, it's going to be nuts. And it'll be interesting to see some of these podcasts that we're going to be doing here in the future of what really happens and who wins the EV race. And that's what it is. It's an EV race. Who's going to sell the most? Who really has their stuff put together? I don't know. Let's talk about what's going on right now. And here are my predictions about 2023. It's going to be a mystery year. It really is. There's a lot of things that can happen. So as rates rise, here's what's happening. People are going into used vehicles. Now, as the rates rise and people are going into used vehicles, that's going to keep the new vehicles from thriving, isn't it? So people are always, I'm telling everybody on my staff, like, keep that price as low as possible. Try to stay under 20 grand because most people want a $350 to $400 a month payment. So people are flocking to used vehicles. It's going to do a couple things. Number one, it's going to create a shortage potentially of used vehicles again. But there's a couple things happening with used vehicles, right? There's a lot of repossessions happening right now. And because of these repossessions happening, it's going to flood the used market with repossessions. And then our good friend Carvana, that's doing underhanded, deceptive practices, are going under right now. One of my predictions that I made several months ago, Carvana is doing deceptive practices. They are going under right now and they're liquidating their inventory. Now, they're not liquidating it for any kind of good deals, but they're liquidating it. So it's pushing more vehicles into the used car market. As more vehicles go into the used car market, I think, even though we have a spike right now, but this is just Jay's opinion, I still think that there's going to be a drop in prices within the next. I mean, it's going to continue to drop, but it's going to drop pretty hard as we get into. I'm just going to say August-ish area, but they're going to continue to drop up until August. Now, here's what's going to happen with new cars. Because new car prices are going through the roof, they're going to have to start offering incentives on new vehicles again. It's just going to happen. You're going to start seeing 0% financing. You're going to start seeing rebates. But I want you to watch out for one thing. I want you to watch out for the term, because this is one of the deceptive practices that manufacturers, not dealerships, but manufacturers do, is they will give you a 36-month term or a 48-month term, and they'll say, we'll give you 0%. Well, you know what? People don't want a 36 or 48-month. They want a 60-month or 72-month term to keep their cash flow and have a lower monthly payment. So watch that. You're going to see that as the repos come in, again, that's going to be a larger supply of used vehicles. And I think that the demand is going to be high for cars. There's a lot of people that were on the sidelines and they need cars right now. It's depending on how many vehicles get into the used car market from repos and Carvana going out of business and potentially Vroom, hopefully. That's going to really depend on a lot of things right now, right? And I want to also hit on a note here about leasing. So leasing is not the way it was, and it never will be again, to my knowledge, unless they change it up. But leasing is not an advantage to the consumer anymore. Why is that? Because leases are based on a few different types of variables. Number one, it's called a residual. And the higher percentage of the residual is what the vehicle is worth at the end. The remaining amount is what you've made in your payments. So the higher that the vehicle's worth at the end, that means your payment would be lower. Well, now what they're doing is they're lowering the residuals. They're making them worth less at the end. Therefore, you're paying more in your monthly payment on a lease. Here's the other piece that goes into a lease. It's called a money factor. And a money factor is basically can be calculated to having an interest rate. Once you calculate that money factor, the interest rates are really, really high. Therefore, your payment is going to be higher. And the other piece that is not being taken into account is when dealers were leasing before, they had significant discounts on the prices of the vehicles. So when you take all that into account, leasing was unbelievable. It was the best thing in the world. I have 3 leases with my company, but it's not that way anymore. And we had a lady come to us recently about leasing, and she has a Cadillac Escalade that she wants to get out of. and she wants to like lower her payment, it's going to be really, really tough to do, especially if she's coming from an Escalade. Even getting into a regular SUV, because interest rates have gone up so much, it really is going to take a hit on what you can afford from a budget standpoint. So, I mean, you could take a $37,000 vehicle and now you're paying about 800 something dollars or $800 a month or more. And it used to be like somewhere in the 700s a month for like lower 700s. So you're talking about $100 price swing on some of these really expensive vehicles. That's why people are going to lower priced vehicles. So a lot of stuff going on. It's very unpredictable what's going to happen. I would just say, take advantage of the price right now. If you're selling your car, take advantage of it because you're going to get top dollar. If you if you're looking to buy a car, take advantage of that too, because as interest rates rise, you're not going to be able to afford as much car. There's there's a just unpredictability of what's going on, and I hope that you found it valuable. Please comment, like, and share this with anybody that you know that is either looking to buy a car, looking to sell a car, or somebody you just want to make aware of what's going on in the world. Um, I'm Jay. I am the podcast authority, the Auto Authorities Podcast, coming to you live. And I hope you found that valuable. And I will see you next week. Peace.